shaped that way. So all culture imprints on people. They pump crap into your head. You're a Lutheran. You don't play with that Presbyterian girl, see? And then who loves you more than anybody? As a kid, you say, I don't know, your mom and papa. So they pump all that crap in. What's the greatest country in the world? I don't know. Greece, that's where you agree. So they pump that shit into your head. And after they get through with you, they say, think for yourself. How can you think for yourself? No one can think for themselves. When I was a kid, I built an airplane, a model, and I flew it, and it went clunk into the ground. And I scratched my head because I didn't know what to do. An older kid came over to me and said, Jacque, your wings are too far back, move them forward. I says, how far forward? And how do you know? He said, balance it. Hold your two fingers under the wing. When it's balanced, it'll fly. And I balanced it, and it flew. Now, he could have said, my plane's better than yours, and not give me any information. It's information that enables us to grow. It's information that enables us to step out of our culture. So I'm telling you that all people are shaped by culture. You want to know what makes a bad person? Let's say a serial killer. This is a true story I'm telling you. This guy, they believe he ate 45 children. He cut them up and ate them. And the public wanted to tear them to pieces. You know, the public gets mad and stuff like that. And a guy named Wortham, a psychiatrist, said, don't kill him. I want to try to find out what made him that way. That's the problem. What makes airplanes crash? What makes automobiles crash? Not what makes a person evil. Well, they don't think about that. They just put him in jail for 20 years. You think he comes out better? No. He comes out worse. Jail is a failure of a nation to understand what shapes behavior. I'm going to tell you what makes a serial killer. And if you fail, if you don't understand that, please say, I don't get it, okay? Don't be polite. This kid, when he was 7 years old, was touching his private parts, his penis. And his mother was an old-time Baptist. She said, you're going to burn in hell touching that body of body. The devil controls that body, and you are evil. And that kid started to shake. And the mother said at 2 in the morning, he was screaming. She went in his bedroom, he stuck needles into his genitals, and he was in pain. He didn't want to go to hell. Can you understand that or no? He used to take minority kids into the woods, Mexicans and Afro-Americans, and try to cut their genital off to save them from hell. Can you understand that? If you're brought up that way, if your mother distorts you and tells you those goddamn people that go to this church are not going to heaven, only our church will go to heaven. Our president, Obama, said, God bless America. Who the hell are you to tell God who to bless? Think about how stupid people are today. And the Army thinks that's the only way to defend your country. Anything a man can think of, another person can think of a countermeasure. Right now, when you get in an airplane, they x-ray your suitcase and sometimes you to make sure you don't have any guns. But I can design sport clothing that gives off poison gas. I wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? I'm just telling you, there's nothing you can do to defend your country. If they don't have an air force, they can hijack a plane or a car and fill it with bombs. There's no way to defend yourself. They built a fort in New York called Fort Hamilton under the assumption that if there was an enemy country, they'd come by Fort Hamilton. Why? They go around. Why come by Fort Hamilton? The Army and Navy is so stupid, they think in terms of defense. The only real defense is to bridge the difference between nations and invite them all in to share the Earth's resources. If few nations like America controls most of the Earth's resources, you're going to have trouble. The nations that don't have access to water are going to invade nations that have water. Do you understand that? No matter how many laws you make laws, don't steal our water, or say no to drugs. It has nothing to do with anything. All man-made laws are strictly bullshit. All of them. The only laws that count are natural law. If you don't get enough sleep, nutritious food, you get sick no matter what your beliefs. Is there anybody that doesn't understand what I'm talking about? I'm telling you that people are made that way by their culture. I gave you the serial killer. Then I asked Al Capone. I said, Al Capone, how do you prevent crime in the crime organization? You know, he had one of the largest crime organizations. Well, since you hire a lot of criminals, how do you prevent crime? How do you prevent them from stealing from you? He says, very easy. I leave my wallet on the table, and I leave money hanging out. I go in the next room and I watch through a half-silver mirror. When a new guy comes in, if he removes a $5 or $10, we beat the shit out of him. That's what he said. And so we never have any trouble amongst gangs, because they know how to solve that problem. In other words, maybe our society and our family life is wrong. Maybe it's wrong for you to raise children and say, why can't you be like your sister? She puts everything away and you leave everything laying around and I have to pick up after you. Well, when your sister falls down the stairs, you got a slight grin on your face. Are you bad? No. If you bring up people under different circumstances, like a priest told me, I know two people from the same family. One turned out to be a priest, the other a gangster. If family, if environment is everything, how do you get those differences? The minute you treat your children differently, you get differences. So people are never trained in how to raise children. And there are a lot of people that believe in not wood and not wood, or a rabbit's foot. When I was a kid, they used to wear a rabbit's foot for good luck. The rabbit had 4 of them. Didn't do them any good. You understand? Okay. So most of the things people believe in, dear God, it didn't rain for 6 months, my plants are dying. Dig a fucking ditch and irrigate your plants. That's the answer. What are the answers to all these problems? The application of science to the social system. Now let me tell you what that means. It means that you don't build cities right away. It takes nature 1,000 years to make 1 inch of topsoil. So you shave off the topsoil first and put it in soil banks. The only thing we've got in banks today, the bank vaults are this thick, is money. You don't have the history of medicine, art, music, culture. You don't have that filed away in banks. All you got is dollar bills and certificates of debt. That shows you how stupid the nation is. There's more than enough resources to feed everybody. And if you don't understand that, World War II leveled Germany, and France was splattered. Some would think when flattened out. I'm just talking about the damage done there. Billions of dollars. Then the money spent on war machines. Cannons, anti-aircraft guns, aircraft carriers, submarines. Submarines cost over $1 billion apiece. We made hundreds of them. Well, if we can do that in war, why can't we send kids to college? Why do kids in America, I can't talk about Germany, I don't know enough about it. In America, they hang out in malls. Kids hang out in coke stands. There should be art centers, music centers, cultural centers, where people could go and grow. You don't have that. You have kids shooting up drugs because they're bored shitless. They have nothing in their lives of interest. And they're in pain. A lot of people are in pain, especially if you have minimum wage. If your kid starts coughing and you earn minimum wage, you say, maybe tomorrow he'll be a little better. You can't take him to the doctor right away. And you have to buy a used car, because you can't afford a new car. And the used car breaks down more than a new car. So the guy is up to here in debt, stress. People have it all the time. Then you go to a psychiatrist and say, I can't sleep, I have night sweats, I'm under stress. He says, it's going to cost you $65 an hour. Your stress goes up. How the hell can you do that? If a psychiatrist tries to adjust you to this system, they have to be stupid. Do you understand that? I hope there's no psychologists. Yeah. They do the same thing. they adjust you or try to adjust you to this system. All systems, I want to make sure you understand, all countries are corrupt unless you share the earth. If God made the earth for everybody, who the hell are you to kill Greeks or Swedes or Germans? If he made everybody on earth, you're destroying God's property. If you're religious, I'm not. I don't believe in gods or demons. I think that if you want a better world, you have to educate people to be ruthlessly honest. Now, if the Venus Project fails, if we fail to get enough people that are interested in the Venus Project, then industry will install more and more automation. You know what I mean? Machines doing your work. And you will eventually, the boss is not going to call you in and say, you worked 8 hours a day, now you work 4 hours a day, because we got machines. Instead of 1 week off, we give you 1 month vacation. It's easier to get rid of you. It's called downsizing. So they make all the money and you get all the pain. Then they draft men into the army. You put up your life to defend Germany or the United States or France. If they do that, I think they should conscript all the war industries so no one makes a buck out of war. Then it's real. Right now, people become billionaires selling armament. You know, they sell it to both sides. The article is called Arms in the Men. It appeared in Fortune magazine, showing how war industries, DuPont had holdings in I.J. Farman. And pilots in World War I were ordered not to bomb I.J. Farman because DuPont had holdings in it. Thank you. War is a dirty game. It's a dirty racket. It doesn't prove anything. It doesn't make life better. But if you think of all the money spent on war, if you used it to enhance other nations, improve their agriculture, build schools there, you would have better feelings. But if you build armies on the border, all the nations have armies facing each other because they're all thieves. They all have property. And when America won the war, they kidnapped German engineers. And they took the rockets from Germany and brought them to America. They stole everything they needed. They keep telling people, don't steal. Well, they say to me, what are you going to do with the crooks? You mean Washington, D.C.? What do you mean by crooks? When you go into a department store or a grocery store and you buy a box of Wheaties, sometimes the box is half full. You know, in the old days, they had a definition of a criminal. A criminal is supposed to be a person that removes something from your house or personal property without your permission. They've changed the name now of the definition of a criminal. Does anybody know what it is? One who's caught. So, all politicians are criminals because they lie to the public. The Democrats lie about the Republicans, or the Republicans lie about the Democrats. The Democrats and Republicans lie about the communists. The communists lie about the fascists. They're all full of shit. What you must do is educate people in relation to the earth. For example, I wanted my kid to be a thinking kid. And I said, what's that? I said, I don't know. How do you make a thinking kid? I said, I don't know. So I read the life of Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and I found out what the conditions were that made him that way, what you call genius. So I used to read to my kids at night in bed. I'd read about dinosaurs, things kids are interested in. And then I'd close the book at the most interesting part, when the dinosaur met the Triceratops. I go, oh, I close the book. The kids said, what happened? I said, look, if you learn to read, you can find out yourself. But don't teach them how to read. Give them a reason to want to learn to read. And when a teacher says to a kid, that's wrong, that doesn't tell you anything. Think about those words. That's wrong. What does that tell you? Nothing. Doesn't show you anything, doesn't tell you anything. Because the teacher says, that's not what I told you. That doesn't tell you anything. So teachers, most of them, don't know how to teach. So when I work with kids, if I work with 10 of them, they all get 100, all of them. There's no variations. Because you must design conversation for kids. When you bring a 6-year-old to school,